I mean, trailing in the fourth quarter, never say uncle behind that man. C.J. Stroud, who at times did come up gimpy with a couple angles, but toughed it out to the tune of 26 of 36 for 304 and 2 touchdowns. Rushed one in with his legs, but the Jags simply too much. Every time the Texans punched, they counter-punched, and it was the bigger one in the end, 24-21. Trevor Lawrence getting his second career win in 6 tries against Houston. Back in studio alongside Bryant McFadden, Joe Musso. It is a pleasure to watch the Houston Texans play football. Not something we've said recently or for a while, but they are always in these ball games. Let's start on the winning side with Jacksonville. What did they do to C.J. Stroud to slow the momentum, muck things up, give dirty looks? Things that have looked simple maybe looked a little harder this Sunday for C.J.
I think most importantly, they made the Houston Texans one-dimensional. Over the last few weeks, we've been raving about the Houston Texans' ability to run the football with Devin Singletary. Today, Devin Singletary only had 18 yards. C.J. Stroud actually was one of the top rushers for their team today. And offensively, even though we know C.J. is overly talented as a passer, if he's one-dimensional playing against a playoff-caliber team like he faced today, where you become predictable in what you're going to show, the defense is going to be difficult for you to sustain consistent success. And that's what we saw today. They made sure they effaced the running game from the Houston Texans and said, we're going to make you throw the football. If we can do that, we can find ways to make things a little more difficult for you from what we've seen in weeks past, and they were successful in doing so. So if Houston would like to continue to have that type of production that we've seen in weeks past, not just from the quarterback, from the offense in totality, find a way to get the ground game going. Because when you're playing good on good, it's going to be difficult to have consistent success only throwing the football.
One-dimensional and almost a lone dimension within that one dimension. Stay with me. It is
a lot of dimensions, by the way.
Vertical passing attack, which can put a defense into a different dimension. This Houston team is always looking for the big play downfield, and I think that some ways and in some situations is a positive. At other times, you want to see them get into a little bit more quick game. What does that do to a defense? You've been back there trying to stop high-powered passing attacks. When you're a defensive back, knowing a team has the verticality of the Houston Texans, how does that change what you're doing?
Well, you got to attack their offense with that mentality, knowing that they love to take shots down the football field. So we're going to play what we call shell defense. Keep everything in front of you and just tackle the catch. Tank Dell, oh, by the way, if you haven't been watching him, he's a guy that's going to be a big-time playmaker for this offense moving forward. But he's a guy that loves to go deep. The same can be said for Nico Collins as well. Those are two guys you got to monitor, because at any given time, with the arm strength that C.J. Stroud has, they love to take shots. But also, that can become something that could hurt them because they rely so much on the big play. And what we saw from the Jacksonville Jaguars defensively, they gave up a play here or there, but in the more critical moments of the ball game, they were able to make sure they keep everything in front of them. And if you look at that last drive, C.J. kept trying to wait for something to happen big on the back end, and kind of forgot about some of the underneath opportunities that led to a long field goal that they were able to miss.
But still, the poise and belief late in games.
That last drive, even though it was a very difficult situation to be in, when you watch C.J., you were like, oh, he's going to do it again. He has that John Elway-ish to his game in critical moments when you need a score or a field goal. It's like he's going to do the unthinkable once again. But fortunate enough for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they were able to efface that out.
3 months. This man has made us believe in those moments in 3 months' time. It's so spectacular to watch him play. It is not in a winning effort here. So let's get back to the winning side, because the Jags are doing something right now that teams don't do. 9 consecutive wins away from home. That does include the international matchups. 6-0 this season, not in their building. What does that tell you about a group as they do try and peak towards postseason play here? I mean, they're going to have to go other places more likely than not and win a football game. To be doing it at this rate tells you what?
Well, they love away cooking. You know, most people, most teams, they love the home cooking, but the Jacksonville Jaguars has shown all of us the ability to be comfortable outside of their stadium. And we do believe if barring the unthinkable happening, they should be able to win their division. There's still a lot of football left to be played, but they sit in a good spot basically because of winning the ball game today. So that guarantees at least, what, 1 game at the crib there in Duval. But when you talk about January football and being able to be successful, at some point in time, you got to travel. You got to be able to be successful traveling, and that's what they've shown the ability to do. And I'm liking what I'm seeing right now. They didn't have a lot from the ground game. Trevor Lawrence did a great job in bailing them out with his arms. Calvin really is now showing up. Agent Zero is finally coming to the party, so that's a big-time plus as well because he provides another weapon for their offense.
Let's take a look at some numbers coming out of this one. Your quarterback comparison, Trevor Lawrence, 23 of 38 for 364.
This is a good battle right here.
This is a battle we are going to watch in the years to come. I mean, C.J. Stroud, what he has done in these 3 months, simply spectacular. Belief in late moments of games only earned through past performance, although this performance just shy of what his team needed. Let's get it out to the booth. Two greats in their own right. Matt Ryan, Tiki Barber offering their thoughts on the tail end of this one, guys. Spectacular down the stretch again. And I want to start with what Jacksonville was able to do to make today harder on C.J. Stroud than maybe some of the defensive efforts we've seen opposite him in the past. Tiki, what did you see in the back end for Jacksonville that mucked things up today?
Well, their game plan coming in for Jacksonville, we talked to Mike Caldwell, it was to make C.J. Stroud uncomfortable. And as this game went down the stretch, you started to see that. Josh Allen had a sack, or 2.5 sacks, I should say, on this game. But just by rushing 4, they were able to get home and pressure C.J. Stroud, which made it harder for him to find guys downfield. And the coverage was excellent in the secondary for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So in crunch time, they did exactly what they had set out to do.
Matt, I want to pick your brain on this because in many ways C.J. Stroud's season has been unprecedented, other than the fact that I'm talking to a man who was sitting at 7-4 through 12 weeks as a rookie. His execution has been special, but his processing power right now, what are you seeing late in games that shows a level of maturation that maybe we weren't ready to see out of C.J. Stroud at this stage?
He's unflappable, you know, and you look at today's game, I mean, at different times he was out of rhythm, and the Jags did a good job on the defensive side of the ball, but it never seems to faze him. He always comes up with a play, made plays down the stretch to be able to put them in a position to kick a field goal to try and tie it up, but he's a relentless competitor, and he's so poised. I mean, when you watch him in person, today we got the chance to do it for the first time, but you watch him in person the entire game, he's never fazed, and for me as a quarterback, I love watching guys like that, because you know regardless of what happens, they're going to give you a chance down the stretch. I've been incredibly impressed with what he's done.
Yeah, and I think the fourth quarter touchdown emphasized that a lot. He doesn't scramble a lot to run. He scrambles to create opportunities for his wide receivers downfield. And when he found Nico Collins, he stepped up so that Foye Oluokun stepped towards him, which created a void behind him. He was able to throw it into Nico Collins. That's composure and poise that you don't really see from young quarterbacks.
I agree with you. The one thing I think is interesting, too, is he talked a lot about playing other sports growing up, right? And he's adamant about how it's helped him become a player. And I think in that type of situation, that's playing basketball, right? He's dribbling to the right. He's bringing in the defender, finding the open guy down by the basket. That's all it was on that touchdown pass.
Well, it was Rookie of the Year in 08, and you can go ahead and engrave that thing this season as well. Fellas, before we let you go, one more here. 9 straight times these Jags have gotten on the plane to somewhere and come home with a win. In your experience, the difficulty that takes on a week-to-week basis, let alone 9 in a row spanning 2 seasons getting on the plane. Matt, what does that tell you about this team and their preparedness for January football coming this year?
Yeah, I think it speaks to Doug Peterson at the top and how he has these guys prepared to play every week. Their willingness to go on the road, not get too high or too low, just go out there and play. But right now they sit with the 1 seed. That means they're not going on the road. I don't know if that needs to change for them or not. They've been excellent on the road. Maybe they'll be good down in Duval, but we'll see how it is.
Well, you know, Joe, we talked to Todd Washington, who's their offensive line coach. He was a teammate of my brother, so I'm pretty close with him. And we asked about the trip to London. Remember, they were over there for about 10 days. And he said at that point they were kind of rudderless. They didn't really know where they were going. But those 10 days away where they won both of those games and then came back and won a whole bunch more until the San Francisco 49ers game, they really got to bond. And they really got to understand what makes each other tick. And so I think in some ways that's carrying and translating through this season. It's why they're so good on the road, because it doesn't feel foreign to them.
No, I'd agree with you. And what he told us, too, is they were 1-2 when they went to London. And they came back, you know, 3-2. They won 2 games over there. But he said the record was one thing. They came back a different team, you know, a different level of belief. And sometimes it's just something as small as that ignites a team and pushes you and propels you forward. Incredibly impressive win today from the Jags.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that Trevor Lawrence is starting to play his best football, 360-plus yards and a touchdown. Your guy,
Calvin Ridley getting out there. He's making some plays, too.
Yeah, they're starting to click right when it matters most. This is moving time in the NFL. Once you get to after Thanksgiving, every single game matters. You're either going to win and stay in it, or you're going to lose and fall out of it. And the Jacksonville Jaguars feel under Doug Peterson like they've really found their stride.
Who are you going to be post-turkey and stuffing? It was a step in the right direction here for the Jags. Gentlemen, we appreciate you stopping by, lending that insight as always.
Pleasure, Joe. Be good.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, a look at the most important numbers. Space created, 8-3 now. 2 games clear of those Colts in the division. AFC South runs through Duval these days. Big win as they not only create space there, but between them and today's opponent in the Texans. You know, sometimes these things just work themselves out. From the former Big Bird to those dirty birds in ATL. We'll take you to Atlanta. Highlights, reaction, everything coming your way next on Game Day Scoreboard.